Diddy told me to go into a partnership with him and said he would pay me a good amount of money. He said that this way people would see him as religious. I gave in to greed. Please forgive me.
Do you think, I'm assuming, LGBT community and the black church can coexist?
Absolutely.
Let me push that question, because...
Hello? I once had Diddy text me, "Welcome to the family," but I was by a platinum-selling producer who was one of his cohorts.
The Lord said that Bishop T.D. Jakes will have one of the biggest scandals of all time in the Christian church, one of the biggest shaming falls before God finally judges him.
World-renowned Dallas pastor T.D. Jakes is named in a federal lawsuit against musician Sean Diddy Combs.
It's filed by a producer that worked with Combs. It discusses how the singer planned to leverage his relationship with the bishop.
With Diddy, he was using T.D. Jakes to fix his image. You believe that?
Well, we saw that to be true anyway. That's what he was trying to do all that time.
Despite the fact that scandal has always dogged the church, what TD? It is reported that Jakes brought maybe the worst to Potter's residence. The preacher, who was already considered controversial as a minister, may become even more so as a result of the recent news that has been circulating about him. This is because he is one of the most well-known religious figures in the world, and there have been cases of men of theology being expelled from churches after slipping UPS. Even his own congregation seems to believe that he is too attractive to serve as a pastor. In the 21st century, engaging in legal matters that are more controversial for a prolonged period of time would likely be seen as a mistake. Many people have told stories of T.D. Jakes. In others, they explain how the minister at the altar wasn't who he seemed to be. In other cases, they state unequivocally that he was misusing his power to exploit others who were under him, despite the fact that these views have been speculative for years.
Maybe that is, as time went on, because they got to the point whereas that they didn't even care.
New facts concerning him are slowly coming closer to both sides. But there's more. The appeal that Jake has had throughout the years stems from his ability to bridge the divide between members of the entertainment business and the church. Jake has been criticized for it by other pastors and powerful individuals, but he has said that his intention was to win souls. But that objective seems to have evolved into something far darker than any church event with Diddy, one of the most divisive figures in the music business. Jakes claimed substantial participation with Diddy and escapades.
That's why T.D. Jakes was there, to try to fix his image. Ain't no money like church money.
Video footage from a birthday bash Sean Diddy Combs threw for his friend Meek Mill in April of 2014 has surfaced in the midst of the disgraced rapper's trafficking arrest. According to Daily Mail, the party was held at a Parisian palace in Las Vegas that Diddy rented for a whopping $25,000 for 24 hours.
We just got new footage of Diddy's party that he threw for Meek Mill's birthday, and Meek Mill saw this and blew up on Twitter.
Yo, Shaw, what's up?
Yeah, y'all already know we playing out this real life.
Real life.
Diddy gang, Meek Mill in real life. Don't ever disrespect me, you heard?
That Meek, yeah, Meek.
Things that an ordinary person, much less a pastor, should never be involved in, are the subject of a lawsuit that provides these information. Aside from drawing his church into this very complex scenario, the case's specifics seem to compensate for Jake's potential absence from the Potter's House's forthcoming programming. These aren't irrational charges from an unknown source. Rumors on social media suggest that certain people might be imprisoned as a consequence of the case.
What do you feel about these rumors surrounding, Diddy and T.D. Jakes?
If he's going, well, we know he's going to the Diddy party. What is actually going on at the parties?
Creating controversy is an excellent approach to establish your brand in various professions. For instance, some in the entertainment industry assert that bad public relations does not exist. Celebrities like Donald Trump and Kanye West seem to have avoided controversy as much as possible, but there are certain people you just would expect to stay out of the spotlight. The guy, who was born Thomas Dexter T.D. Jakes Sr., is a well-known preacher and broadcaster around the world. He began TD and established the Potter House megachurch in Dallas, Jakes Ministries to help the poor. However, it seems that the minister himself could need help, since he has found himself in a peculiar predicament for someone who is meant to be against sin. How do you feel about these TD and Diddy rumors? Jakes? According to reports, the Potter's House Jakes pastor at the Dallas MAGA Church is named in a lawsuit that connects them to Shab P. Diddy. The complaint was filed by a song producer for the website Bad Boy Records. Rodney Lil Rod Jones filed a legal action in U.S. federal court for the Southern District of New York, which USA Today was able to access on Monday. In it, he accuses Coombe and a number of his friends of participating in his business. According to the complaint, Jones was drugged and intimidated by Kumshad for over a year. Jones is requesting a jury trial and $30 million, 0 cents in damages. However, the crucial question is how Jake fits into the overall plot. The complaint also states that Jones has unquestionable evidence of Mr. Combs explaining how he planned to exploit his relationship with Bishop T.D. Jakes to mitigate the impact of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit on his reputation, according to the Dallas Morning News in December 2023. Social media posts with unverified claims claimed that Jake went to parties that Combs hosted. Jake responded to the reports on Christmas Eve at the Potter's home.
Friday.
Yes.
That's how I feel about T.D. Jakes. Like, that's how I see. Oh, Miss Parker, come to pray.
Crazy, man. But to get into this lawsuit, right, Cassie, she testified that Diddy will force male escorts to urinate in her mouth during free-calls.
My man, you know, that's a touchy and difficult subject when you're a man and you have daughters. You understand? And that's why we as men need to play a prominent part in our daughters' lives, because you get men like this that's got this corrupt and devious minds that they don't respect womanhood. You understand? That's some nasty, perverted things that you want to have somebody urinate in the mouth of somebody who gonna be talking to you in your face, who gonna be kissing on you, who gonna be eating food with you. What kind of deviant and crazy mind you have to have somebody do that to somebody that you care about, you supposed to care about, that you supposed to love, man. You know, something is sick about that, brother. You can't tell me that that's some kind of fetish. You know what I'm saying? You know, he didn't outdid R. Kelly with that right there, bro, when I heard that. So that's an effed up subject and situation, man, to even imagine that you got somebody doing that to somebody that you supposed to care about and you supposed to be in a relationship with.
If Bishop Jakes was at a Diddy party, there could only be two reasons: money or sex. That's all that happens at Diddy parties.
Catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. T.D. Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all.
But what did Jake say after startling a lot of people? He said that there is sufficient power in the blood to atone for all types of sin. Therefore, if everything were true, the worst thing that could happen is that all I need to do is repent genuinely from the bottom of my heart. The blood would atone for any transgression. But I don't need to feel bad about this. Although many believe that all that is occurring with TD, some of Jake's activities appear to have a spiritual undertone, whereas his current behavior is a natural result. Someone who anticipated the preacher's demise came up with this concept.
The Lord said that Bishop T.D. Jakes will have one of the biggest scandals of all time in the Christian church, one of the biggest shaming falls before God finally judges him.
One of the worst humiliations occurs. The Master's voice prophesied via Celestial, the prophetess. Last year, some important information was made public via a YouTube blog. She said some things about Bishop Jake that are getting a lot of attention right now. Bishop T.D. Jake is the subject of many serious charges and predictions in Celestial's Prophesy. She starts out by making accusations of misconduct, saying that T.D. Jake is a ped and a homos who has used boys against their consent and defiled children. She adds that in any country where his name has ever been well known, he will be unmasked and the issue will get extensive media coverage.
Said this man is not a straight man. He is not a heterosexual man. His name will be named by the people he has been with.
I'm gonna lay my hands on you, Bishop. And he said, and then it's on the internet. He's doing all of this, right? And then there's a woman on the day.
It is often expected that tales such as this will emerge about them, since they are highly recognized. Everyone first thought that Prophetess and Jakes were involved, but later on, some evidence surfaced to substantiate the charges. In a society where headlines are everything, the issue with being caught up in one incident after another is that ultimately they start to cloud whatever you may be engaged in. People started to question if the bishop may not have been entirely innocent of the charges leveled against